Hi guys, as promised, this is a follow-up video for the construction of the workbench. This isn't a tutorial video, but more of a just overview of how I built it. And I do have a set of plans for this. And I also have a set of plans and tutorials for this twin screw vise. But with that, I suppose I'll go into detail about the construction of this. The construction is basically a copy of another video I saw on YouTube. I'll link in the description below. I think it was Woodsmith who was the ones who posted the original budget build for this. I have some deviations on it, but not a whole lot. The construction is nearly identical. Okay, so first I want to talk about the top. It's basically just a bunch of plywood stacked on top of each other. The first sheet is a piece of birch plywood from the big box store. Underneath that I have two more pieces of MDF, and then underneath that I've got pieces of an MDF that go around the legs to support the base in sort of a loose tenon fashion. In the front here I have my homemade twin screw vise. I have another video and plans for that. The front jaw here may differ from my plans a little, but I trimmed this jaw so that it was equal thickness to my skirt boards, so I had a flush front edge of the vise, and the skirt boards were just glued and nailed on. This twin vise I purchased on Amazon and had to build a front jaw and a handle for that. This vise back here is my special guitar vise, ideal for doing a lot of guitar work and holding your guitars without denting, scratching, marring them. I have dog holes here, about 5 inches from the edge. And I also purchased these bench dogs that are spring-loaded. And that's it for the bench top. Oh, it is quite hefty. This whole thing is probably 250, 300 pounds, and that's ideal when you're working on something. Okay, so here's the tail vise. If you buy this vise from Amazon, I think this is the Yoast one. I'll leave links again. But basically you have to make a front piece for it as well as a handle. And I just used some scrap wood from the shop. Turn the handle, basically a dowel. You could use a dowel if you wanted. And then I turned these in knobs and recessed them so they fit, so I could glue them onto that dowel. The front is just screwed on as well as the bottom is screwed on. So underneath here, it's basically screwed on. The main consideration, and I believe I got this slightly wrong for this particular vise in my plan, is that when the jaws are all the way closed, you need to make sure there's enough room right here between the edge of your bench. On the end parts of this bench, we have these L pieces here that have been connected by a piece of plywood, and everything's been screwed here. And the other side's exactly the same. And then on the face, more or less, all we did was glued these support pieces of wood. And that more or less allows for a kind of fake tenon here. And that gives a lot of rigidity to this base and a lot of extra heft. And I'll go ahead and give a view from the inside. So you can see it's not terribly complex construction. And again, I'll link to the video that goes a little more in depth on the construction from Woodsmith. Okay, so the last thing here is the shelf here, which I like because I have a tendency to put things on top of my bench and not have room to actually work on my projects. So this serves as a catch-all for those types of things to keep my workspace clean, or mostly anyway. And that is just supported by a piece of just 2x4 cutoff. Okay, so that concludes this workbench overview. All in all, I have about 250 into this, and that includes the hardware needed to build this and the tail vise from Yoast. It does not include this vise, which was probably $250 alone. It's not the cheapest bench you could build, but it's also, you know, fairly budget friendly. I'll post links for all the items, the purchasable items, the tail vise and these bench dogs, and I'll also post plans for the bench and a video tutorial for this twin screw vise, as well as plans for that. I hope this was helpful, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.